It's 23 minutes past 11 now at Coast FM 963. Deb Lennon with you till 12, and I have our resident psychologist, Carlos Camacho, here with me at the moment. Thanks for coming in, Carlos. You are becoming our resident here.
Good morning, Deb.
Yeah, it's always wonderful to see you.
Yeah, like I said, the first time I came in, I love doing radio, so I always find some time.
You're very at home here.
Yeah. There's something about radio, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
Some things just can't be replaced, I think, and radio is one of those things, just like vinyl records. And someone asked me about books as well. Do you think they would eventually pass by? And I thought, no, they're here as long as the human race are here. Different things will come around, of course, and they'll be greener, so to speak, but books that we can feel and touch and turn the pages will always be with us.
They will, won't they? Today we've got a topic to talk about that I think is so important, like strategies and mechanisms for people that have their loved one or a friend or whoever it may be trying to cope with depression and anxiety. How do these people support them and support themselves at the same time, Carlos?
Yes, look, it's a difficult situation, Deb, starting from, I suppose, the point that a lot of people themselves don't know they have depression or anxiety.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, in my field of psychology, we can't really take an x-ray and point to it and say, okay, we're going to cut this out now, and then you've got 6 weeks physio or this or that. And so with psychology, we're dealing with abstract terms, and people themselves, they grow up in a certain way. There's a lot of personality issues. So once they get to mid-20s, 30s, they might not realise they have a disorder. They just feel like it's part of them. And others too, if they grow up with them, you know. It's very different to be depressed than to experience the disorder of depression.
There's a difference.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's certain categories that have to be fulfilled. I mean, obviously frequency, intensity, and I suppose also time span is very important with these things, because we all get depressed, we all get anxious. It's part of human nature. In a way, our body's telling us that we have to do something. It's a reaction to an external stimulus, and with depression, the body's telling us that we need time to reflect. With anxiety, we need to move, we need to protect ourselves, we need to run.
Yeah, like a coping mechanism.
That's right. So starting from that point, it's very difficult, but these days we're much more aware, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Of the symptoms and a lot of psychological disorders that in the past were thought weren't actually treatable, or even disorders themselves. Now we all know that they are just like depression and anxiety, but also things that are more, I suppose, traumatic, such as psychiatric things like schizophrenia and these type of things. And we all know now that there are certain disorders, that those people aren't possessed, so to speak.
Yeah, that's right.
As we thought like 100 years ago. So
yeah.
And now, once that person finds that they do experience a certain disorder, such as depression and anxiety, it's very important, I think, to communicate that with their loved one.
Okay, yeah. So they're aware that there is something that's serious going on.
That's right, because then they like you said, they are aware, but also they can be prepared for it. They don't have to, on the first date, say, by the way, I have depression.
That'd be a bit off-putting or something.
That's right. Well, there are people that might like that, I suppose.
Yeah, openness.
The openness, that's right. And we all have our dark side, so to speak, you know, but we have to keep some secrets to ourselves. And I think if we know and we've been diagnosed with depression or anxiety, it's very important eventually in a long-term relationship for that other person to be aware, just like anything else that we feel that would affect the relationship negatively.
Yeah, before it goes too far, I suppose. Now, these people that are trying to help their loved one, how do they protect themselves? Because it is sort of like a virus, really, where you could catch it off the other person if you don't protect yourself. And how would you do that without pulling back from the one you're trying to help?
That's right. In a way, it is a little bit contagious, isn't it?
That's the word.
Yeah. Research has been done in psychology where we find that, especially in environmental psychology, that people tend to start feeling the way that others do.
Mirror.
Yeah, that's right. It's in a way, it's actually, my son was asking me today, why do we yawn? And one of the theories on yawning is because scientists don't know yet why we yawn. Okay. They know the mechanism of it, but one of the theories is that it's due to sympathy for the other person.
Oh, really?
One person yawns and it's contagious, so we kind of like yawn too to say, yep, we're tired.
I'll agree with you.
That's one of the theories,
okay.
One of the social theories on yawning. It's a little bit of acknowledgement.
That's
and
lovely.
and so I think just like being in a party and everyone has a high vibe, you walk in there, it's hard not to feel good. It's also the way. It's also the fact that when we're in an environment where people are down, then that definitely rubs off.
It sure does, doesn't it? So ways to, I suppose, exercise and eating well and sleeping well, ways to cope,
yes.
are they?
I always say, and it's very important for people to understand that in life, there's no such thing as selfish.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to our health, you have to start with yourself.
Yeah.
You can love someone very, very much, but you can't help them if you're not well yourself. And I always put the example of first aid. I did a first aid course a few years ago.
Did you?
And the first rule of first aid, the first rule is your own safety.
Okay.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
So someone could be bleeding, they could be lack of oxygen, whatever, but you cannot treat them unless you are safe, because what happens is that you're going to have two people then that need to be treated. So I always use that as a very important, like an analogy, like if you want to help someone, look at yourself first, make sure that you're right, and you need time. I think you're right, Deb. Physical exercise, eating well, are the two best things people can adopt in their life for life.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the pharmaceutical companies, they will tell you otherwise.
They will, won't they? I wonder why.
But the reality is that we need to burn a certain amount of energy every day. And a lot of our jobs, my job, for example, I sit down a lot. So it's very important that if you don't have a job, I've got friends that are bricklayers. They don't need to go to the gym afterwards. So, but for others, it's very important to be able to get that energy out, because that is stored as anxiety later. So physical exercise is very important. It doesn't have to be a lot. People think, I need 2 hours. No, 20 minutes a day. That's all you need. Organised exercise, because it's very different to say, oh yeah, but I walk to the train station 20 minutes to catch a train to work. That's good. The body's going to love that, but the mind it's not as beneficial for it, because you haven't planned it and then accomplished it. That's very important. Yeah, so if you say, I'm going to come back from work, put some shorts on, go out for a 20-minute walk to the station, that's far more productive, psychologically speaking, than having to walk to the station because you're taking a train.
That's amazing. The brain is so clever.
It's very clever, and we have to use it for good, not for evil.
Very true, Carlos. Well, thank you for coming in. A very important subject to talk about today, I think.
It is because we all know somebody, and that is down. Maybe they might not be diagnosed with major depression or bipolar or anything like that, but they do need us, and we have to make sure that we are well, and teach them as well. Start with that. That's the best thing you can offer someone. You don't need to be a psychologist. You have to say to them, you need 20 minutes walk every day, and you need to choose what you eat. You start with that foundation, then sleep will come on board. That's 90% of the battle.
And then positive thinking.
That's positive thinking. But you're already doing that just by deciding what you're going to eat, and by having that walk. So negative thinking is the basis of the human brain. So we've got to override that, because our brain is conservative by nature. All of our brains. So people that are very positive, they work it. Yeah, no one is born positive. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Thanks again, Carlos. You chose a beautiful song to take us out of this interview here on Coast FM, 27 minutes to 12. Peter Gabriel and Kate Bush, Don't Give Up.
thought